Have you ever watched a bicycle glide effortlessly down the street and wondered why it doesn't topple over the moment you let go of the handlebars? It's a question that seems simple, almost childish in its curiosity, yet hidden within it lies a profound truth about the universe, about motion, about balance, and even about the way we navigate life itself. Richard Feynman, with his boundless curiosity and playful intellect, would have delighted in this question, because it forces us to look beyond the obvious, to peel away the layers of intuition, and see the elegant mathematics and physics underneath. At first glance, a bicycle seems to defy gravity, standing tall on two thin wheels as if by magic, but the truth is far richer and more inspiring. The secret begins with motion itself. Motion creates stability, and stability is never a passive state. The faster the wheels spin, the more the gyroscopic effect takes hold, creating a resistance to tipping, a subtle force that emerges simply because the world moves. But there is more than just spinning wheels. There is the dance of feedback between the rider and the machine, the imperceptible adjustments of the handlebars that balance weight and direction, a conversation between intention and response. This is the first lesson the bicycle teaches us. Balance is not something you achieve once and hold forever. It is an ongoing, dynamic interaction, a willingness to respond to what the world throws at you without fear, to adjust subtly, to trust both your instincts and the laws that govern reality. And yet, even with these mechanisms in place, the bicycle is never guaranteed to remain upright. A sudden bump, a gust of wind, or a careless motion can send it tipping, reminding us that no system, no matter how elegant, is infallible. Here lies the suspense. We are drawn to understand balance, not because it is simple, but because it is fragile, because understanding it illuminates the line between order and chaos, control and surrender. Richard Feynman often spoke about embracing uncertainty, about finding joy in the process of discovery rather than clinging to certainty, and the bicycle embodies that philosophy perfectly. It is a metaphor for life itself. We cannot control every variable, we cannot eliminate risk, yet by moving forward, by taking action, by engaging with the forces around us, we create the conditions for stability. We learn to ride not because the world is predictable, but because we become attuned to its rhythms, responsive to its shifts, resilient in the face of imbalance. Every pedal stroke is a lesson in courage, every adjustment a lesson in mindfulness, and every ride a reminder that mastery is not about perfection but about persistence, awareness, and a willingness to experiment. When you consider the simplicity of two wheels carrying a rider across uneven terrain, it becomes a symbol for human potential. Even in a world governed by complex and often unforgiving laws, progress is possible, balance is attainable, and beauty emerges from engagement rather than passivity. To ride a bicycle is, in a very real sense, to participate in the poetry of physics, to embody principles that govern the cosmos, and to recognize that curiosity, observation, and playful experimentation are pathways to understanding not just motion, but life itself. As you pedal faster, you begin to notice a shift, not just in the motion of the bicycle, but in your own perception of what it means to move, to act, to exist. There is a subtle lesson embedded in every turn of the wheel, a lesson that Richard Feynman would have recognized instantly. The universe rewards engagement, curiosity, and attention. A moving bicycle stays upright not because it is perfectly engineered, but because the forces at play, gyroscopic effects, steering geometry, the distribution of mass, interact in ways that are deeply interdependent, each one responding to the other, each one shaping the path forward. And here lies the suspense, the hidden tension that draws us in. If any element falters, if your focus wavers, if a variable goes unnoticed, the balance can collapse in an instant. This fragility is not meant to discourage, but to illuminate a truth often overlooked in our lives. Stability is never passive. It is earned moment by moment, through constant adjustment, through observation, through understanding the rules while daring to step into the unknown. Imagine a world where everything is predictable, where motion carries no risk, where learning is unnecessary. It would be flat, dull, and lifeless, devoid of the thrill that comes from engaging with complexity. The bicycle, spinning wheels and all, becomes a mirror for our own journey, reminding us that progress requires a willingness to encounter resistance, to embrace the possibility of falling, and to rise again, aware of the forces that both threaten and sustain us. When you lean into a turn, when your body instinctively counterbalances the tilt, you are not merely riding a bicycle. You are participating in an elegant dialogue between cause and effect, between knowledge and intuition, between fear and courage. Feynman often spoke about the joy of seeing patterns, of finding order in seeming chaos, of asking why without fear of uncertainty, and here, on two wheels, the same philosophy comes alive. Every wobble invites attention, every adjustment teaches patience, and every successful balance reinforces the power of observation and the necessity of action. The suspense reaches its peak when you realize that the forces keeping you upright are invisible, mathematical, and yet profoundly real. They cannot be seen, yet they respond perfectly to your input. They cannot be commanded, yet they reward engagement. Life, like physics, operates on similar principles. Success is not granted, it is co-created with the world around us, and understanding comes from doing, from experimenting, from risking failure to discover stability. And in that moment, when you finally glide effortlessly, when balance is no longer a struggle but a natural state, you recognize a profound truth. Mastery emerges not from control, but from partnership with the environment, not from certainty, but from curiosity, responsiveness, and persistent effort. The bicycle becomes a teacher, a philosopher, and a mirror, revealing the deeper patterns of existence, the invisible threads that bind effort to reward, action to consequence, motion to stability, and awareness to understanding. To ride is to learn, to fall is to grow, to adjust is to understand. And through it all, we begin to see that the act of balance is a reflection of the courage, attentiveness, and curiosity that define the human spirit. At some point, you realize that riding a bicycle is more than a physical act. It is a metaphor for how we navigate the uncertainties of life. Every ride begins with hesitation, with that small doubt that whispers, "What if I fall?" Yet the moment you commit to the motion, the world responds, and a delicate harmony emerges from the interaction between your intentions and the laws that govern reality. Richard Feynman often emphasized the beauty of understanding the mechanisms behind what we observe, not merely accepting them at face value, and the bicycle provides a perfect example of this principle. By studying it, by observing how wheels spin, how weight shifts, how steering responds, we uncover not just the science of balance, but the philosophy of engagement. We learn that the act of maintaining equilibrium, whether on a bicycle, in our careers, or in our personal lives, requires a blend of awareness, intuition, and courage. There are moments when the path is smooth, when progress feels effortless, yet the truth is that beneath every seamless glide lies countless micro-adjustments, invisible corrections, and a deep trust in the forces at work. Suspense lingers even here, because the risk of falling is never fully gone. There is always a curve, a gust of wind, a sudden obstacle to test our understanding, to challenge our resolve. And it is in these moments of uncertainty, when control feels tenuous and the outcome is unknown, that the most profound growth occurs. The bicycle does not offer guarantees, and neither does life, yet it teaches a universal lesson. Stability and success are not rewards for avoiding failure. They are cultivated through engagement, attentiveness, and the willingness to embrace challenges. The faster you ride, the more you trust yourself, and the more you see that motion itself generates balance. In this sense, the bicycle becomes a philosophical instrument, a teacher of resilience, a guide to understanding the interplay between action and consequence, risk and reward. We begin to see that mastery is not about eliminating uncertainty, but about developing the perception, timing, and courage to respond effectively when it arises. Every wobble, every correction, every successful glide forward reminds us that life is less about static positions and more about dynamic participation, that the joy of movement comes from interacting with the forces around us rather than resisting them. It is a vivid demonstration that curiosity and observation, the twin hallmarks of Richard Feynman's approach to science and life, lead not only to understanding, but also to freedom. The freedom to move confidently, to innovate, to grow, and to explore. And so, each ride becomes a meditation, a reflection on balance, a celebration of persistence, and a metaphor for the human journey itself. We realize that the act of moving forward, even when uncertainty looms, is in itself a triumph. Every pedal stroke is a choice, every adjustment a lesson, every success a testament to courage, curiosity, and resilience. The bicycle shows us that life's complexity is not a barrier, but an invitation to engage deeply, to learn continuously, and to find joy in the process rather than in perfection. And as you step off the bike, feeling the rhythm of motion still echoing in your mind, you carry with you a truth both simple and profound. Progress is possible, balance is attainable, and the universe rewards those who dare to act with awareness and curiosity. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.